Uh, this video is being made because even though people who have taken the time to get to Diamond Elo, they still don't understand at all how to play this fucking game. It's like it's almost a mind-blowing experience for anybody that's playing and that they're in silver, gold, or bronze, or maybe even platinum. And if you think that people like Diamond's this place, well, at least Diamond 5 area is like some kind of magical place where the game's great and everything, it's not. It's worse. It's almost worse than any other like Elo ranges I've ever played in ever. But specifically, the last game I played really pissed me off because it really encapsulated the problems. One of the big problems, which is macro game, which is like objectives. It used to be a lot where people would really stress objectives or really stress pushing and getting stuff done. I feel like that's kind of less so lately, and it kind of got annoying because everyone was just like objectives. This isn't team deathmatch. You got to focus on objectives. But apparently, the people in Diamond 5 really need some help in this area. I was playing a match as Trundle versus Nasus. In the entire game, he was almost behind 60 CS, and I got when I would push a wave in with cannon, like two groups waves together. I'm sure you've seen that in the LCS before, whatever, like stacking a wave, so two of them get up there. So I would hit his tower down, and his tower was down really early in the game. And by the time that I was on his second tower, he still only had like 150 stacks, like as in like 150 bonus damage, not like 150 CS stacks. And I was still nearly 60 CS ahead. So what this should mean is I can go to the other parts of the map, push, and win the game. When I first got his tower down, I immediately went mid. I told Nocturne, the jungler, I told our jungler, we need to push mid down because it's really easy because it's already half, and it's Cho'Gath versus Castan. Castan hardly has any wave clear. Lee Sin, their jungler, hardly has any wave clear. Bot's okay. Nothing's really going on there. So I thought, okay, let's get that. Okay, we get it. Kind of really badly. It could have been done way better, but we still got it. And then we got Castan really low, so we started hitting the next turret. But they were really hesitant about it. They're just like, oh, I don't know, this is out of my comfort zone, you know, pushing down towers. And so we backed off. Somebody died because more support came from bot, or like died or something, and then came to mid lane and snared, killed someone. Okay, so I decided to go back top, fight Nasus again, pushed him back to second tower. And at this point, I'm just, and then at that point, 4 people came top. Okay, I'll say this, that, okay, I could have warded their whole jungle and been more observant and realized, oh, there's 4 people coming top, I should back. But it's like, at that point, what that means is that there's only 1 person on 2 other parts of the map, so there should be some kind of pushing or objective control happening during that period of time, but it's not. And for some reason, this idea is not understood at the Elo range. In Diamond 1, if you watch streaming games and stuff like that, for the most part, the idea of pushing down towers, getting objectives, completely understood concept. And in this game, you're working against a clock. Like, I could stay top the entire game and try to keep Nasus from getting far and pushing back, but if the rest of the people on my team basically refuse to really do any major objective control, or they're losing on their own, like they're losing 4v4, so I kind of have to be there to win the fights, then you're just in this screwed situation where the Nasus is going to keep getting stacks, and like, and I got to the point where he could just 1v1 me, and I couldn't stop him. So at that point, I had to go with the team. We didn't end up actually winning the game, but I think it's more because the new Castan just has no scaling whatsoever in Lee, so both of them had pretty much no scaling whatsoever, so we won just kind of by virtue of the fact that their team count blows, which is a different problem with Diamond entirely. But if you're playing a game against Nasus, you have to push the towers down while he's really weak. So he can't even, if he teleported in, he'd just die, especially with my ult. But I just don't understand the problem that people have with this. I think it's because it's kind of quote-unquote dangerous, kind of like diving in general is kind of dangerous, because they're just not, I don't know if they're not, they must not be comfortable with their mechanics or something. They just can't, they just don't want to dive, get a kill, and win the game by getting an inhibitor, then going to the next inhibitor, next inhibitor, whatever. But we have people staying bot lane when they don't need to, like the wave's already pushed out enough, and the enemy AD carry is not going to get enough CS to win the game that way if we just push down mid lane, like, at that point. It's really important in games like that, especially against Vayne and Nasus. And those champions can be so strong in solo queue because they can be allowed to just farm out, and your team doesn't push at all. It's not hard to push. If you're on a team and if you've seen that bot lane's been destroyed completely or top lane's been destroyed completely, go to mid and just push down. Just keep going. Like, you should have the team count to be able to do it. The only like, don't go mid maybe if it's like Ziggs or Gragas or something where you know you cannot push it down because it's anti-siege. So instead, you split push both lanes at the same time. Use your jungler to like dive up the bot lane tower and get that tower, and you just snowball from there. Because the person mid, if they lost, even if they are an anti-siege champion, your mid laner can deal with it, and they might be able to get a kill if they had already been winning the game. But that's the only time that you don't want to group up and get a mid tower. But the weakness they have in that situation is that that's why that champion's so strong. So they're kind of stuck to their tower. They can't really go anywhere because a lot of them are immobile, so they'll die. So you just do the jungler push bot or the jungler push top. It just depends on the champions that you're playing against. I would include other problems that the Elo has with these kinds of concepts, but I'd like to do that at some other time. But the main thing to take from this is, don't be a puss bitch. Like, it's an incredibly, I don't know why it's so hard, but the reason why you can't get objective control is because people are puss bitches. Even when it's 5v4, people will refuse to dive and win the game, or refuse to do a dragon that's easy and win the game. This mentality needs to be broken, or you're just stuck with this farm fest. And I think it's because some of these people, well, most of these people that are in Diamond 5 and Diamond 4 in that area, never learned how to play the game at all. They're just slightly better mechanically than the people in Gold and Plat. Sort of. They're like, that's all they are. They're just slightly mechanically better than like the people in Plat 1, maybe. Even then, it's just kind of like there's some, what's that term? Not variance, but like some leeway either way, like where someone Plat 1 should be better than someone in Diamond 5 and all that, whatever. But it's just unacceptable that we have people in what's supposed to be the highest league unable to play the game. Some of them are bad mechanically. Some of them don't have macro game. Some of them just want to play as safe as possible and never die. And I think that's a consequence of an overstress that we at least used to have on just never dying. Like, don't overextend, don't die. Like, that's what we tell bronze. A lot of people used to tell bronze and silver players, even though that's not really necessarily the best way to play in a lot of situations. But this has to be broken. Like, if you can tell someone that's new to playing the game that this is not the right way to play, or if you know some people, like, or you're in Diamond and you understand these concepts, it's like, you need to teach other people these concepts, or we're just going to have terrible and shitty games in this Elo range forever. And it turns the game into a dice roll, especially in this Elo range, because, I mean, like, in my experience, it's almost always, like, 20-8 or 8-20, like, one or the other. I hardly ever have balanced games in my Elo range. It makes it really unfulfilling. Like, you could win your own lane in a situation, but you're still gonna lose. You'll just win. Oh, okay. You'd still lose because, like, you're top lane and you're just like waiting for your team to actually do something, but they won't push. You can't force the push because you really need your team support and all that. Or you could be playing a game where you win your lane and then everybody else wins their lane too. So it's just kind of like, well, yeah, we just kind of won this by default. There really wasn't anything to this at all. There's really not a lot of teamwork involved. So, like, either everyone wins and you just win, or all their lanes win, maybe but one, and then you lose. And games that should be won, like the ones that I've mentioned about, like Trundle versus Nasus, destroying Nasus, can't win because even though you want to push and ask people to push and explain to them this is why pushing is a good idea, they won't do it. So that's pretty much the whole problem that I wanted to express in a nutshell. Thanks.